Well, hey, welcome to Your Health Truth. I'm your host, Brock Hardman, and today is one of those passionate subjects, and so I am going to apologize in advance if I offend you or if I say something that is just, a little too passionate, but this is just one of the topics that I'm going to speak my mind on, for what it's worth. I think a lot of people need to hear it. And again, it is just my opinion because I am not a licensed doctor, but I do think that my points will be valid and they do have credibility to them. So, the topic for today is multiple sclerosis, or is MS basically what people call it. And so, oh man, where do I start? Well, MS is one of those diseases that the source is not known. So basically the medical community really has no clue as to what causes it. I'll start by saying that. So, having said that, I also do not know what causes MS. But I will say that there is quite a bit of evidence that the source of MS can be traced to certain things. So, let me start by saying this. MS doesn't just happen, okay? Some doctors and some healthcare professionals would lead you to believe that, it's just one of those things that happens, we don't know what causes it, but it just happens. And unfortunately, we don't have a cure, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Now, to me, that's a bunch of BS. Not saying that you don't have MS or that it's not a real thing, but it's kind of a man-made label, if you will, for something that they don't know what causes it. And so you don't get something from nothing. In other words, MS doesn't just happen. There's a cause for MS. And so for people to think that, it just, it just happens. Unfortunately for you, it just happens. You're one of the unlucky few. That's a bunch of BS. Stuff doesn't just happen. Every event has a cause. When something happens, there's a cause. Every time, 100% of the time, there's no exceptions. There's a cause and event to every single thing. Now, the problem is no one's really found that cause. And so what MS is basically your body attacks itself. So your white blood cells or your immune system will attack what's called the myelin sheath. And so it's an autoimmune disease where your body basically attacks itself. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, but in a nutshell, it's where your body just basically sees the myelin sheath as foreign and attacks it. Now, why would the body do that? I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? Well, there's a lot of other illnesses that have some of the same characteristics, such as, and I'm going to get into this in great detail when I go over my digestive health part. It's a condition called leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome. And this is a pretty new kind of deal. I mean, go to your doctor and mention leaky gut syndrome, and they're going to be like, the what? I mean, they're not going to know what it is. So I wouldn't advise going there. I wouldn't advise going there for your condition anyway. Because first of all, if you go to your doctor and you've been diagnosed, first of all, I'm really sorry if you are someone that has been diagnosed with MS. I know it's a horrible, horrible condition. But it's not one that, has to leave you hopeless. And so if you go to your doctor and the first thing that he does isn't to put you on a different diet plan and change your diet dramatically, then you're seeing a quack. I mean, doctors should know, and most of them don't, and that's why I'm saying this, that, if you don't change your diet, you're not going to change your health. If you keep eating the same foods, if you keep eating foods like drinking coffee and eating all these foods that cause inflammation and irritation of the gut lining, you're going to get worse. And I would guess that most doctors don't do that. I mean, cancer patients go to the hospital. They get put, in a bed. And as they're doing chemo or as they're doing their treatments or whatever, what do they get fed? Jello, white bread, microwave barf. I mean, literally some of the worst food you can consume. And this is for people that are trying to get better. So I would find someone that takes a more naturopathic route, that understands how the human body works, and work on your diet first, okay? Now, here's what I've done in my last few years of research. I've done a lot of research into conditions such as MS, because my condition would have probably led me to have MS had I not caught it early and fixed it. And so I was lucky enough to catch it in the beginning. What I had, what was known as a candida overgrowth. It's basically a yeast or a fungus that can overgrow in your intestines whenever you lose your good bacteria. So if you take antibiotics, if you eat a lot of sugars, and if you eat a poor diet that basically wipes out the beneficial bacteria, then you can have a lot of other stuff overgrow, such as fungus and bad bacteria and a lot of other parasites and just a whole slew of other microbes that can overtake your digestive health. When that happens, your intestinal lining becomes inflamed, the integrity becomes not so great, and so now whenever you eat foods, this is what the leaky gut syndrome, when you do the research, will show that the foods you eat, the food particles, are not fully digested. They leak into your bloodstream. They actually leak from your intestines into your bloodstream undigested. Now your body says, whoa, what is this protein? Oh, it's a foreign object, let's go attack it and get rid of it. So now you're eating foods that are normally good for you, your body starts attacking them. That's what happens when you have a food allergy, okay? So that's just the start of food allergies. Now this keeps going on and on and on. You can imagine, if you're not aware that your diet is literally killing you, that it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Now all of a sudden, you don't just get food allergies, but your body starts attacking itself. And so, again, am I saying that I found the cure for MS? No. What I'm saying is, until some doctor can prove me wrong, then I think I'm right. No one else knows what it is. I think my diagnosis of MS is much better than any other medical doctors come up with in traditional medicine. So you can do one of two things. You can either stay on the protocol that your doctor's been putting you on that hasn't been working, or you can try mine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'd love to hear your testimony about how wrong I am. That's my goal, is to be proven wrong, because until I'm proven wrong, I'm right. So that's it. You have to understand leaky gut syndrome. You have to understand candida. You have to understand digestion. And once you understand how your digestive system works, that accounts for most diseases, most autoimmune diseases, most digestive diseases. You can trace digestion to, I would say, between 80 and 90% of diseases. Most disease starts with poor digestion, and you can trace it all the way back to how you digest food and what food you're eating. And so that's my encouragement to you. I'm on your side. I don't want to sit here and try to belittle multiple sclerosis. I'm not here to try to offend anyone except for doctors who are doing a poor job with their clients. But I'm on your side, and I want to provide at least some form of hope for you that, hey, there's things I can try, maybe that I haven't tried before. Maybe it'll provide relief. It's worth a shot. It's a lot cheaper than what you're probably already doing. And so, just give it a shot. There's a test you can do called, it's called the leaky gut test, where it's cheap. It's like $50. You drink some liquids, and then you you urinate in a cup. And if the macromolecule is in the cup, that's, there's basically a test to see, is your intestinal gut, does it have permeability? If it does, you have leaky gut syndrome. It's just like that. Within a couple of weeks, if you have this condition, and then you can start treating that. And then if you start feeling better, wow, magic. It's, this is something I'm very, very passionate about. And it's because I have seen so many people live their entire life under fear mode, or, just hopelessness that they've been diagnosed with this condition, and because doctors or whoever else just don't know the source of the problem, they think, well, I must give up because there's no cure for me. Poor me, because that's what the doctor does. But that's it. I hate to sit here and bash doctors, because there's a lot of smart people out there in the healthcare community, but there's also a lot of smart people that aren't doing their jobs very well, and I'm calling them out. So that's it for today. Multiple sclerosis. That's it. I'm done.